name is Mitchell Stecker, and on behalf of the clergy, staff, and people of this church, we are glad to have you in this historic sanctuary of the Mount Lebanon United Methodist Church for this opportunity to enjoy some very fine music making together. As Director of Music and Liturgy of this church, I am pleased to welcome back our artists in residence, the Three Rivers Ringers, as they present this final program of their Spring Concert Series 2023, Bells in the Burgh. As some words of orientation, restrooms may be found out the narthex doors to the left again, and then beyond the stairs. If you have not already done so, please take this opportunity to silence or power down any mobile devices you may have on your person. And without further ado, please help me welcome, under the direction of Mrs. Linda Boyce, Three Rivers Ringers.
Thank you very much, everyone, and welcome to our presentation of Bells of the Burgh, a celebration of the Pittsburgh region in music. Handbell Musicians of America is divided nationally into 12 areas. Our opening number was a 2012 composition contest winner for Area 2, of which Pittsburgh is part. As we prepare for our next piece, I can say with reasonable certainty that Beethoven had no direct ties to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. However, in 2021, for their exceptional recording of Beethoven's Symphony No. 9, the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra and the Mendelssohn Choir of Pittsburgh received 2 Grammy nominations. How fortunate we are to have these world-class musicians in our neighborhood, to have had the privilege of sharing the Heinz Hall stage with them, and to have past and present PSO staff in our organization. As Beethoven's final complete symphony, it's an important stylistic bridge between the classical and romantic periods of Western music. As another musical bridge, our ensemble will do the opening statement of this piece on our historic Whitechapel handbells from the London Foundry, and then we will transition into their modern counterparts, our Schulmerich handbells. Hymn to Joy. That piece of music was recently recorded for an upcoming CD, and I can tell you, after a number of takes, we had to take a break. Quite a lot of physicality in that piece. We're going to contrast a great deal with this next piece. F. Murray Abraham was born in Pittsburgh in 1939. Having been primarily a stage actor, he moved into steady employment with small television roles, voiceover work, and commercials, including a series of them in which he appeared as a talking bunch of grapes for Fruit of the Loom underwear. His work led him eventually into major films, including that for which he won an Academy Award. That was as envious composer Antonio Salieri in Amadeus. Mr. Abraham performed as a reader with the PSO in a dramatic presentation of the Mozart Requiem in 2012, 14, and this year. He has also served as the voice of PSO's radio ads for a number of years. Based on a fictionalized rivalry between court composers Salieri and Mozart, the film Amadeus concludes with Salieri, an elderly and broken man, now a patient in a psychiatric hospital, recounting to an attending priest his lifetime of consuming jealousy at Mozart's brilliance. As we begin to hear the following movement from a Mozart piano concerto, he offers no confession, but rather this farewell to the bewildered priest. "Goodbye, Father. I'll speak for you. I speak for all mediocrities in the world. I am their champion. I am their patron saint." Salieri may have considered himself mediocre, but Mozart was not, nor was F. Murray Abraham. Magnolia champaka is a native tree to Southeast Asia, is widely celebrated for its fragrant flowers, is used in the production of fine perfume, and has absolutely nothing to do with the inspiration for this piece. Pittsburgh area native Elizabeth Peters is a TRR alumna, a daughter, and a composer whose works we've been pleased and very proud to perform. Liz is known for leaving her pieces untitled and naming them after the fact, oftentimes with the help of her friends. Written for the ladies' bell team at her church, a casual rehearsal conversation about one member's perfume led to the naming of this piece. She set out quite simply to write a cheerful little piece. Cheerful indeed, it dances from beginning to end. Champaka was performed at this year's Distinctly Bronze East Handbell Festival in North Carolina under the direction of Fred Grayman. Mr. Grayman reflected then on the happy emotion he experienced in hearing and conducting this piece. And interestingly, the oil extract from the champaka plant is sometimes used for health benefits, including stress release and improved mood. So the after-the-fact naming of this piece was either a happy accident or just meant to be. By way of just a brief demonstration, we always have different kinds of ringing instruments at our disposal. We actually are using 4 different kinds of tools to ring with tonight. The first is our more historic Whitechapel handbell. Its modern counterpart, a Schomeric bell, a hand chime, and for this piece we'll be using silver melody bells. 4 very different colors that we have to use, and thank you, Jeff. Champaka. This time I'd like to invite our associate conductor, Sarah Boyce Stecker, to the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We move next to Baby Elephant Walk, of which the composer Henry Mancini is our Pittsburgh connection for this one. Anyone know what movie Baby Elephant Walk is from? Anyone? Every concert so far, somebody's known it. Anybody know it? Yes? Hatari, yes, good. And so in the film, Baby Elephant Walk was just an instrumental piece, but unbeknownst to me until this concert series, there are actually lyrics. Pat Boone did a recording in 1965 of Baby Elephant Walk with those lyrics, and here's the first verse. Make believe you're in a jungle movie. Watch the baby elephants go by. The beat is groovy. It's a brand new dance you ought to try. Come to the jungle and see the animal attraction. Baby elephants in action, walk. Next, we move to an original handbell composition by Jason Krug. This one is called Down the River. This piece was commissioned of Jason by the Rogue Ringers from Medford, Oregon. And the inscription at the top of our music says, "Of flowing waters, and dedicated to America's wild and scenic rivers, in particular, our local wild and scenic river, the Rogue." And so while that was written for that particular river in Oregon, we certainly are known for our rivers here in Pittsburgh. And so in this piece, Jason Krug does a really fine job of illustrating for us what it might be like to be traveling down one of those rivers on some kind of boat. It starts off rather swiftly, but still feeling pretty safe. At some point, things start to feel a little bit more dangerous. We hit an eddy later on, and things calm down for a while. And then we speed things back up to take it to the end. We will be having Jeremy Smith on bass chimes, who you have heard already a little bit on some percussion, and Linda will be joining us on a recorder. When I say to you, Pittsburgh and tap dancing, what name do you say back to me? Gene Kelly. Now, of course, you have the title of the next piece in your program, so that was a little hint. But we are next going to play for you Singin' in the Rain from the So Named musical. This is an arrangement that we have done before as an organization. Brian Turvo is the arranger of this version. And he, I think, has done a great job of honoring the original piece of music. It really takes us through lots of different energy levels as it goes throughout the various verses. In his notes about this piece, he indicates that he tries to use some of the higher dynamics as well as some of the more percussive sounds that the handbells can make to imitate the parts in the dance when Gene Kelly would be splashing through the puddles with his tap shoes. So I hope if you are familiar with that musical that you can envision that scene in your head as we play this next piece. My last piece on the podium with all of you is Three Rivers Rag, which is a piece that is very special to our organization because it was written for us. The organization several years ago commissioned Hart Morris to write this piece for us, and it was to be in honor of our original artistic director and current director emerita, Nancy Lutz. This was in celebration of her final spring series with us before stepping down from that position. And so the piece was commissioned in secret. We scheduled rehearsals to practice it in secret, which is pretty challenging. I'm sure those of you who are Mount Lebanon people know that Nancy just likes to pop in here sometimes. And we even recorded it in secret, which was quite a feat. But we kept the secret. It was great, and we surprised her with it at our final concert right here in this sanctuary of that particular spring series. So it's been fun for us to bring this one back and to play it for a full series this time and not just for one concert. Nancy and her family also just fed us a wonderful dinner right before this concert, so we're all up here very full. So thank you, Nancy, and give a little wave for us. She's over there. So Three Rivers Rag, you may notice if you take those initials, they do spell out TRR, which are our initials as well. And so with that in mind, Hart Morris wrote for us this ragtime song, Three Rivers Rag. this time, I would like to invite the president of our board of directors, Linda Minotti, forward to speak to you for a few moments.
Mount Lebanon. We're so glad to be here, our home church. It's wonderful. Yes, thank you. We certainly appreciate all that Mount Lebanon does to keep this organization going. Thank you, Pastor Tom. Certainly appreciate all your support. Many of you may know some of this equipment belongs to them that we're able to use. The tables, some of the bells. So if it wasn't for Mount Lebanon supporting us in this way, we wouldn't be able to perform how we perform. So a great thanks to Mount Lebanon. And thanks to you for coming this evening. Certainly appreciate it. You might be seeing in your program, there is an insert. If you have not yet seen that, take a look at it, fill it out. We'd love to give you some information about upcoming events, future concerts. We won't sell your email or your address to anybody, I promise. We just want to keep you updated with our future events. And speaking of that, we're planning on this spring doing a level 1, level 2 workshop for ringers. So if you're interested, keep looking at our website. We'll be sending out information on that. But we'd love to have you come if you're a ringer. We'd love to teach you some things that we know, and maybe you can learn a few things. Maybe you can teach us a few things. So keep apprised on that. We also will be having open auditions on July the 29th. So if anyone is interested in becoming a part of our organization, we'd certainly love to see you on that date. And again, more information will be forthcoming on our website about that. But that's Saturday, July the 29th. As you can imagine, as you know, when you go to the grocery store, things cost more, right? I mean, the gas costs more, your eggs, well, eggs have come down, but everything is to be going up. Same with our costs. So printing the program books, putting gas in the truck that pulls our trailer, those types of things. So if you've enjoyed our concert this evening, and I hope you have, if you would feel so inclined, there's an envelope in your program book. We'd love to have you donate a little bit towards our expenses. That'd be great. And if you don't have money tonight, you can donate on our website, or you can always mail that in to us. We'll keep your, yeah. I promise you we'll go to a good cause. And you can deposit that in the back at our merchandise table. Speaking of that, there are some CDs back there, some t-shirts and those kinds of things. Those also go to defray our costs. I think one of our pieces is on the Swinging Bronze CD. There's also a Christmas CD, our latest one. So if you're interested in hearing a little bit more about us or listening to us in the future, you might want to pick up a CD. Lastly, if you want to come up and talk to us, we'd love to see you. We'd love to have you come up. Maybe you want to ring one of the bells. Maybe you want to see how big those things are and how much they weigh. 18 pounds, by the way, for the big boys. But you want to play the flute again? Oh, Linda, yeah, for sure. She's wonderful. She is. She's better. Yeah, she's cool. But come on up and talk to us. We'd love to have you do that. So again, my thanks for coming this evening. I hope you're enjoying it thus far, and I'll turn the program back over to Linda.
From one Linda to another, thank you. Tri-State Area Polka King Frankie Yankovic, a fictitious Pittsburgh news team in the movie Groundhog Day, and the 1970s Super Bowl winning Pittsburgh Steelers have one thing in common. That was obvious. There's a Pennsylvania polka. When Sarah and I settled on a theme for this concert series, I quickly came to realize it would be difficult to choose from the wealth of music artists and compositions so strongly connected to the Pittsburgh region. Among the lengthy list of artists and celebrities who are identified in some way with the region, one of its most noteworthy figures, of course, is Fred Rogers. Many people were surprised to learn that Fred considered himself first and foremost a musician. His college degree was in music composition, and over his lifetime, he wrote the melodies and lyrics for more than 200 songs. Considered to be a singing psychiatrist for children, he translated the concepts of child development into musical messages in a language that children could understand. The actors who portrayed Mr. McFeely, Handyman Negri, Bob Dog, Neighbor Aber, and Chef Brockett were all Pittsburgh area natives. And a young man from Coriopolis, Michael Keaton, worked on the stage crew. Another Pittsburgh area native, Johnny Costa, served as musical director on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood for more than 25 years. The music was played live in studio, almost like a conversation between Fred and Johnny. They shared a common understanding that if it's for the children, it has to be the best we can give. With her own appreciation for Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, composer Liz Peters recognized the theme song for the show as one which would be a great fit for handbells. How right she was. How many of you watched Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood? Great, because we're going to invite you to sing with us this time. I know there are choir people here, so sing with gusto. If you don't know the words, just hum along. Mitchell, I think we found some choir members down here. There we go. Growing up in the 60s, our family had one black and white television set and 3 or 4 channels to choose from that I can remember. Evening viewing was a variety show or a Western, but on Saturday evening, a mainstay was studio wrestling. That's right. This was a live professional show aired from Channel 11 studio on Pittsburgh's North Side with local icon Bruno Sammartino, George the Animal Steele, and Jumpin' Johnny DeFazio, to name just a few. One of the familiar hosts was broadcast personality Bill Cardill from Sharon, PA. So the connection between all of that and this piece of music was the theme music for Pittsburgh's wrestling program was El Capitan. El Capitan was one of the earliest successful comic operas to come out of America and was also the one successful attempt by March King John Philip Sousa to provide an enduring musical score for the theater. The only thing which El Capitan signified to me was that Dad was in his recliner and we were ready for studio wrestling. So I'll just like to put my script aside just for a moment. Tonight is the last concert in this series and this season for Three Rivers Ringers. There are many people to thank. I know they're listed in your program, but I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to point out that there are so many people that make all of this happen. Thanks again to our host here at Mount Lebanon, not just for tonight, but for our rehearsal space. Thank you, Kirk, taking care of the AV for us. There he is. Nancy, everything. We love you to the moon and back. Thank you so much. And last night, we also played in Johnstown. It was part of a concert series there, and they had a large banner that said that they were host to world-class musicians. And I'd like to take that a step further and say these are world-class people back here. And would you please give just an extra acknowledgement for them? I'd also like our associate conductor, Sarah, to take a bow. Thank you, Sarah.